A lot of stuff going on.
Okay, ready? I'll call a meeting, August 8th, 2023, EDA meeting to order, please. Let's see, we look around and see we have a quorum. How about calling a roll for us, Mr.
Okay, Mr. Diffenbach,
Here.
Mr. Tatum, Mr. Smith,
Yeah, here.
Mr. Llewellyn,
Here.
Ms. Bullock, Ms. Scott, and Mr. Vaughn.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we do indeed have a quorum.
All right. Stand for the invocation. Invitation.
Okay, let's pray. Heavenly Father, again, we thank you that we come before you and discussing the work and goings on of this beautiful county, Amelia County. Lord, thank you and give us the wisdom that we need to make decisions as we go through this meeting. In Jesus' name, we ask for your prayers, Lord.
Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank President Eisenhower, 1954. Under God, isn't it? We have one addition to the agenda. Mr. Diffenbach would like to give us an update, so if I could have a motion to add that to the agenda. Motion. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll add that to the agenda. See no citizens, approval of the minutes, minutes in your packet that you got this morning are a little different from the ones that was distributed. But all it was just some cleanup about who made a motion and who seconded the vote. Give you a chance to read over that. All right, if everybody's ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Motion. Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign, minutes are approved. Next, we have the treasurer's report. I went in to see finance man this morning because I looked at the his financials and it looked like we lost about $400,000. He just hadn't rolled it over.
That's correct.
That's what I figured it was, but I wanted to hear him say it. He said he's gonna get that done today, so it'll be all straightened out by next week, by next month.
And also, I'd like to point out the unencumbered balance of economic development. All that's because for this particular thing, the year hadn't been closed out.
That's what he said.
As soon as it closes out, we'll go back to,
Transfer,
yeah, it won't be mixed together with last year.
okay. Everyone, does anyone have any questions about that? Not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the treasury report.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. All in favor of accepting the treasury report, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? The old and new business. Back on deed restrictions, I don't think we heard anything back from Jeff. He was supposed to,
I've had another conversation with Jeff, and Jeff is prepared to give us whatever it is we want. And I have told him that what I continue to hear is we want to make sure our buffers are right. We want to make sure we have the ability to buy back,
Right.
but we were pretty much open to other things. And he said, well, if you can just, at this meeting, if we can just get some other things that folks think are important or should be in there, that he will draft us up what we you would need to work off of.
Okay.
I was thinking about it, do we need to get a surveyor to go in and mark the 200 ends? And our real property starts,
At some point in time.
yeah,
Should.
so that way when somebody's looking at it, whenever we get,
Uh-huh,
it's already the definition there.
uh-huh. Do we-
This will,
I would
like,
like
bit down the road.
6, there's development standards. Is there anything there that stands out, site plan requirement? Certainly, we need a site plan for somebody before we say, yes, you would be good to go in there. And I see, here's Neil.
Good morning, everybody.
When I read over this, I thought that the ones in the Floyd County one was pretty comprehensive. I don't know. Brady taking a good look at this?
He's taken a look at it.
Okay. Do you have any comments, additions?
I think we were both just sort of, this is a really good place to start. It's a little bit more than what we're looking for, but we're waiting to hear what the owners here. And
Okay.
we can dial in on it.
Yeah.
You have anything to add?
No, the only thing I would add is that if you'd like for me to go through it
Yeah.
in detail and give you, thoughts on some of the design features in the Floyd County one probably are a little bit excessive.
Sorry, everybody.
Doing a little bit of manipulating here, Neil, of the controls. We'll be with you in a second.
Oh, okay.
Try now.
All right, you try now.
Alrighty, can you hear me now?
Barely.
Barely? Okay.
I think it's because the speaker that we're hearing you from is out in the hallway.
Let's see. It should be. I'm looking at my settings now, but everything looks fine.
Yeah, I think
it's on-
you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's your.
All right.
All right, try now, Neil.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah.
So why is doing that?
I think that'll work. Everybody hear Neil well enough to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, what I said was I had reviewed it earlier, just a general review, but I will
You are.
be glad to go back over it with a specific, the markup of the Floyd County one and provide you some recommendations. In my initial review, I thought some of the quote design standards may be a bit excessive for the type of businesses that you may be looking at to going into the park. And, since these are deed restrictions, they would be what would be considered minimum standards, and you
Right.
always have the opportunity, if you're looking at site plans and, other draft documents from any prospective purchaser to require additional, design elements for the purchase.
Okay, so you don't have any specific additions or subtractions to come out of this site plan requirement?
I I do not at the present time, yes,
Okay.
that's correct. But I'd be glad to do that for you.
Okay.
Is there anything in here that the EDA would like to strike from Jeff's draft?
I'm looking at the Floyd County one.
That's Floyd County.
Yes, Floyd County.
Thank you, Jeff Story.
No, I'm sorry. Jeff is going to give us a draft.
Right.
Is there anything we would like to strike from the Floyd County one when Jeff creates the draft?
Brady, since you're here, I'll give you a shot.
I mean, I think the, personally, I think the zoning sort of handles the permitted and prohibited uses.
Right.
Unless you guys are banging down the road that the M1 zoning designation may change and there's something that you might not want, or, you know what I mean, but I think I go back to what we sort of talked about last meeting, that the intent from the get-go, I think, has just been to put the buffer in there. And then from there, I don't know if we want to restrict it too much, not knowing
Right.
what's coming down the pipe, you know?
I
I think
agree.
as long as we're doing what we needed to do to protect the residents that live in the neighboring community, and their biggest concern was they didn't want to look out their back porch and see buildings, and I think that 200-foot buffer,
Yeah.
and which is primarily a wooded area,
Right.
the fact also that the topography goes down to the ravine and then comes back uphill, I mean, I think that serves the interest of that community, and then from there,
Right.
I think it might be a detriment to put anything too specific.
Okay. I agree. Get the bumper in and the right of first refusal.
Right of first refusal, yep, that was good. I mean, it's just, the more you write in there, the more you give someone the ability to pick apart something
Right.
in the future. You know, Floyd County had all this stuff about outdoor storage and maintenance and all these things. And I think that's just something that someone could go to and try to pick apart what's happening at the park, saying, well, you're not following your own deed
Right.
restrictions or covenants, you know?
On page 17, number 13, is there anything different about that? Right of first refusal conditions, page 17, item 13.
What happens in the event that it's let's say you had somebody who owned it and was going to sell it to like a family member or something like that? How does that work? Do we still want
Yeah, I think we still want that to come before us.
okay,
Make sure the family member's gonna, if there is a plan in place, family member's gonna carry through with it. Not gonna come in there with some off the wall, thing.
They basically give you notice.
Yep.
And then the EDA would have a chance to give the new owner notice, make
Correct.
sure they understand everything that's in play.
One other question, speaking on it, you asked that question, made me think about this, is because the M1 has subdivisions by right, and it is pretty minimal in terms of lot standards, if someone bought, you know, partial, a piece of property and then wanted to then subdivide that piece of property. Is that something that you all would like to come back before you?
Yeah, I think it says in there, they have to come back before if they want to subdivide it.
That was part of the foible.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's something definitely,
definitely needs to be in there.
technically in one, like I said, subdivision to by right, so that all that would have to do is come before who's ever on staff. So having that in the deed restriction would probably be.
Yep. Definitely want that in there.
Yeah.
My feeling on some of this stuff is I like to see it, you know, like the screening and the lights, some of the detail, like it's got to be all these different like bollards and things. I mean, I'm on the fence with that because let me back up. We got pretty fortunate selling such a large chunk to the developer over there now that he has done things in such a workmanlike manner. You know, it's, the grass is nice, the black tie, everything, but you know, if we do, so we got lucky. If we get somebody in there that's, doesn't follow, you know, the standards that they were, I would like to see, maybe not quite as voluminous, and this isn't, I shouldn't say it that way, there's definitely details in here that I think could keep somebody from maybe coming, because there is a lot of things in here, but I don't think we should abandon it all. That makes sense. Maybe this is fine, but I don't know, Brady, you've seen more of these, like when you're saying the outdoor storage, the bollard, like all the different lights, is that pretty typical? Or is it too much?
Yeah. I think it sort of depends on what the EDA's vision is for the park. You know, for that area. If the EDA wants to really maintain a authority over what happens, even though they might not have ownership, then you're gonna need to be more specific. If you're willing to turn it over to developers and allow them to sort of put what they want to put, I mean, I think that's the balance that you're trying to navigate, but you're also having to use premonition because you're not really sure what's going to come along one day. The good thing about covenants is they can always be amended.
Right.
EDA could always amend them. So I don't know, I think in some localities, like when I was in Pulaski, you know, they had a park that was a shared park between localities. And, you know, it was pretty tight on what their expectations were with people. It was a 1,500 acre park. So when the people moved into that facility, what they needed to do.
And how was it selling those, like getting people in? Was it full? Was it partial?
It wasn't full, but it was growing. Red Sun, have you heard of Red Sun tomatoes? I don't know if you've ever seen they had a plant in there, a big facility, Patton Logistics, which is a
Yeah.
pretty huge logistics company located in there. So yeah, it was doing well.
So what does it determine?
I think it's almost like a subdivision here, residentially speaking. You know, it's how much control do you want over the aesthetics of the subdivision and what you want it to look like? While also not being a hindrance.
Taylor, how about we give those comments to Jeff and see what he comes up with?
Absolutely. He's got this on his agenda to get together as soon as he gets what we've talked about today.
The more stipulations you put on it, the less the people who are wanting to buy it feel like they own it. But we need a certain boundaries that you want everybody to stay within. If you put too many stipulations on it, it's gonna cut out some people that can't afford upfront to match that, meet it.
It's like a fine line we have to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you put just having installed so many lighting packages at industrial fills facilities, if you put a stringent lighting package, that may cost a person $350,000 just to put the correct lights and run a loop around their property. So I'm thinking about the last 4 or 5 people who came to us looking for places. Having met with all of them, none of them could probably get the money like you. So it's not maybe that, so maybe this wasn't a right fit for them, but we also want to, have an opportunity for rural, like we're trying to do this for the people around here.
Right.
Our, the local people so that they have a place. And I'm just thinking, we need a good bit, but just not too much, or it just pushes it to just huge developers, which we would like to see too.
I know years ago, lighting was a big thing. People would want other people's lighting over on their property. And I can see that. But maybe we could have it written in there that the lighting would stay on your property and not trespass on somebody adjoining property, and pretty much just leave it at that, and then let them come up with what they can afford and what they can do. I mean, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to do that. You can do a lot with bulbs and stuff. Still have it in there, but don't have a lot of restrictions on it. You can go do this. It'll be interesting to see what Jeff comes up with. All right, ready to move on to cleanup.
Okay, the cleanup, there's going to be a meeting tomorrow with Daryl and staff and folks at D&B Engineering to come up with a scope of how this cleanup should be done. So what we want to hear today is it the EDA's intention to get the abatement done, which we will have to do. Obviously, if we do anything, we'd have to abate whatever might be in there. And then is it the desire just to take the buildings down and just to get those spots clean? Or do we want to get from the furthest back of the bigger building, do you want to clean all that up all the way across the front and have a nice gravel lot entrance into the park with a gate on it? It'll go from just taking the buildings out properly to leaving a nice parking lot area for every improvement, everything that needs to be cleaned up. And the engineer will need that type of guidance so he can come up with a scope of work that we can pass around to different excavators and contractors.
Well, like you talking about, it'd be what I visualize, an acre or acre and a half ground, probably. So you wouldn't take after you clean the buildings up and the car wash and the gas station, you'd gravel an acre and a half. You just have a suitable area that right off the road where you got a normal drive, where your driveway is now. You just put some gravel right there so somebody can pull in and turn around. But that's what I'm thinking you got.
Yeah.
The basic footprint of the buildings be graded. Not so much change your topography of the rolling of the land, just clean it and have it smooth where you could put grass on it temporarily. And then a small area to park some vehicles.
I think that's good.
Yeah,
It's a pretty good flat in there, right? They're all
Yeah.
360 anyway. You come in there, if you got your contractor in there at that point, go on and rub a few trees and brush whatever around it and make a nice area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Winston was telling us before the meeting that he went over there yesterday. Tell him about what you saw in the building.
Seems to be a lot of antiques still in there,
Really?
still price tags on them.
I wondered about that. Had it been cleaned out?
so we've had, and that's question 2 for the demolition. We've had multiple requests from folks to go in there and start to clean up for us. Daryl says there's nothing in there that we want. There's nothing left in there that the owner wanted before we bought it from him. But, you know, we can just draw a hard line and say we're not gonna pick winners and losers. Sorry, and just demolish everything. Or if we had a way that we could open it up and allow the general public to go and get things out of there, that would be fine as well.
I think we take a hard line on that. I don't think we want the liability of that.
Good idea.
And, I think Winston was telling us there's a lot of knickknacks and
Yeah,
old bed frames and stuff in there.
but the building's in pretty bad shape. If somebody went there and fell through a floorboard or something
Yep.
like that, that's kind of opening that door at that point.
All right, so to soften that blow, and I'm just throwing this out. Should we offer to the closed cottage and the food pantry that's just up the road, them a guided access in there to see, since they get these type things and try to get them back out to the public? Should we offer it to them just to say that we did allow some access?
Well, they could give us a insurance certificate.
Good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So if they can provide something that says, then
We're entering
it'd be
it.
my opinion that we do a goodwill gesture.
Yeah,
Okay,
Let those types of it.
as long as they take the liability for it.
so if we've got a local nonprofit charity that, just like the Closed Cottage that
Yep.
does that, we can offer them a tour and the ability to take what they see that they can repurpose.
Yep.
As long as they've got insurance.
Yep.
But the average guy on the street, average girl on the street, we're not gonna take that risk, okay?
Yep.
That's
Maybe,
clear.
I don't think they would need to name us. We just need, as a additionally insured, we just would want to know that they have
Okay.
insurance, right? I mean,
And limited, you're talking about one day, one afternoon, what?
I haven't stuck my head in there. Winston, how much did you see?
It's, I mean, I walked through, I mean, it's a pretty, I mean, somebody's already been hauling stuff out of there. I mean, it's a track back to that side door in there where people have been backing in there. It, lack of better terms, it's been high graded.
I think the seller's family had requested to be able to take some things out. I don't know if it's since we closed on it. Some of her family did ask about doing that.
All right, Robert, you want to make a motion we go through with the abatement and the gravel lot there? Agree, just the gravel lot?
I would, if we take your buildings down and a suitable amount of real estate and, get it in a presentation where it'll look good and put a small gravel area that, as a beginning offering to, show it to the public.
Okay. I get a second.
Second.
All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed, like sign. Now, I would like to make the motion about the nonprofits going in.
I'll make that motion that we allow local nonprofits to go take a tour as long as they're insured.
Okay. And very limited, whatever we set up time frame. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Thank you, sir. All right. Next up is the appraisal update of Richardson Road. You hear anything back?
We did not hear anything back from the original appraiser after multiple attempts. So I reached out to, another appraiser with local, knowledge. And I got a quote back, but this quote was for more than what the original one was. And given that, if that's what the market's gonna be for getting an update, I would suggest that we contact at least three, maybe more, to make sure we're getting the most bang for the buck.
Okay.
Very, very qualified, very capable appraiser has stepped up and said they can do it, but the number is a little bit past our threshold to just.
I can't remember what it was, what that number was.
So if you'd like, we can seek several more bids, and it very well could be that the first one we got is the winner.
Okay.
Wouldn't be surprised if it's not, but
All right, let's
let's do due
do
diligence.
what we can find out. All right, Neil, it's your show now.
Alrighty, I'll just do those in reverse order.
Okay.
At our last meeting, you all sort of had agreed to go forward with the signage on the property, but sort of wanted to wait until the property had been cleared before putting the sign up, actually erecting the sign. I contacted Royal Signs, who's provided the bid, and he's ready to go anytime as soon as we can get him the proof of what the sign, the actual design of the sign. And so I just put it on hold until you figure out, when you'd like to do that. I think we can, like I said, we can pull the trigger on it anytime and have it up there probably within 30 days.
Yeah, my thought is that we wait till we get the buildings demoed and the lot in, then we put the sign up.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So we're ready to go.
Okay.
The next issue was basically the application process for Virginia Economic Development Partnership, their Virginia Business Ready Sites Program. There's some positive signs coming from the conferees on the state budget that they may be able to work out an agreement on a compromise for this year's budget in the next couple of weeks. And if they do, then there'll be a reconvene of the General Assembly and adoption there. So VEDP's application process for their, Business Ready Sites Program, if that occurs, it will be more towards the end of the calendar year before applications are due. It'll be closer to December probably, with preliminary applications due in the October, November timeframe, and the actual applications due in there. If the conferees can't reach an agreement there by towards the end of, or I say within the next 60 days, the likelihood is that they will not have a compromised budget this year, and they'll just take up the governor's budget recommendations towards the end of this calendar year, and then leading into the next session of the General Assembly. So that's sort of where that stands. Taylor and I did meet with folks from the Region 3, Go Virginia Region 3, Brian David and Liz Povar, about the possibility of an application to them. I had Ashley put in your packet sort of a summary of what that application would look like. It's sort of a mirror image of what the application was for the Virginia, Business Ready Sites program. We'd be requesting from them about $750,000 to be matched with the acquisition price that you've already put out for the property and some due diligence that's already occurred. So
Okay.
it'd be a 1-to-1 match there. The issues for Go Virginia are basically what is the regional character of this proposal. The applicant in this case would be the Heartland Regional Industrial Facilities Authority. And the justification for the regional thing is that it would be one of hopefully many facilities that would be developed sort of under that umbrella over the next several years. So the regional component of it is a question about in their minds about how that would be structured and put together. The other big issue is the amount of their request. Basically, $750,000 is almost all of the annual allocation to Region 3 from the state. They had requested the summary that I put together so that they could meet with the state and get further guidance on what would be required in the application. So we had a follow-up discussion of that, Taylor and I did, with Brian, David, and Liz. And I provided some additional materials in support of that, and they're to schedule a meeting with the state here in the near future. Time-wise, the application can be submitted anytime, but there is the application process is different for Go Virginia than most any other state or federal agency. They sort of invite the application when they're ready for it, and they help you put it together. And they, in this case, if it exceeds $100,000 in amount, then it has to go for approval at the state level. So you got to go through 2 levels of approval before grant award. So we're looking at, if they sort of give us the green light to submit an application, we're probably looking at October for submission, a month to 2 months of approval at the regional level, and then another month or 2 months of approval at the state level. So to get the application moving forward, if it goes to the state level, will probably be in the first quarter of next year. There. So that's sort of an update on the funding request. Taylor, what have I missed? Yeah.
I think you're pretty thorough there.
Okay.
I think you pretty well got it all. It didn't seem like there's a lot of optimism, and it might be a lot of optimism on the Go Virginia folks' part that we're going to be successful with this, based on the rules that are in place, based on the fact that they don't have a budget to deal with.
Yeah.
It might just be an overall sense of gloom because of that, but that's just my observation.
Right. And
I read somewhere recently from one of our illustrious legislators that he didn't see the need for us to have a budget.
It's a men's house.
So that's where we're starting from.
yeah.
So there are no fuzzy feelings, huh?
True. As they put it, there's some some challenges to
Yeah, right.
there.
Didn't I hear one of the suggestions was we apply for a $20,000 2-year planning grant to see what we could do?
I, one of the suggestions was they do an enhanced capacity building, possibly a grant, and that would be in the neighborhood of $100,000. That's the maximum, and there's an expedited approval process, which would shorten the approval process about in half and can be done pretty quickly. And Taylor was questioned whether the juice was worth the squeeze, as an old saying goes. You know, is it worth all the paperwork and time and effort to go through that process for the $100,000?
Yeah, okay. All right, sir, thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's about it.
Next, we're gonna hear from Mr. Diffenbach about his potato chip factory.
Oh, yeah, just. Did you get that email? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I know everybody has been very supportive of what we're doing as a family, so I took a few pictures this morning just to give you a kind of an update of where we're at. We're getting quite a bit of machinery set up. If you start at the left, you have to, the tools are laying there, it's just, we're in progress, so things will change, but the top left, that's the fryer. That will do 175 pounds an hour of finished product, which is essentially 425 bags an hour of potato chips. And then there's the actual bag. It will change, I'm sure, from now till we open, but that's what we're going with as far as our look and feel. We're just going to start with one plain chip and then we'll add flavors. So then if you go to the middle picture,
Which one?
the top, you can see that slicer, that's a long incline conveyor, and Mr. Llewellyn here has been working with me, bending up a lot of stainless and helping me out with that. So thank you, Robert. So that will feed the slicer, and then the far right, that long cylinder right there, that's called a hydrolifty stoner that we built. Well, everything you see on the two pictures over here, my boys and I have built in our shop. So we're running the wood business by day and welding by night, it seems like right now. So if you go up, then scroll up, please. The gray, that's an actual potato crate that is dumping potatoes into the hopper. I've got Swift Creek Forest Products made me a bunch of those crates, so that was great. Was able to use some local people, and my son Josiah built that potato hopper himself. So the potatoes just go in there, and then there's a conveyor underneath that feeds that hydrolift. And then what you don't see, because we don't have it done yet, is the next picture with that big round cylinder is the peeler. There will be a chute over top of that weighs a batch. It goes in to be peeled. And then the right picture here is just another shot of the fryer. And I believe then the bottom, so same again, left picture is the fryer, and then that picture is the packing machine. So we don't have the connecting equipment that will feed the potato chips into that, but the very top, that sort of round thing with all those right there, that's the weighhead. Excuse me, the weighhead, a computerized weighhead. The chips drop in the center of that, and there's little vibratory conveyors that feed each one of those buckets. And it will, the bottom part underneath that mezzanine bags up to about 78 bags a minute. So anyway, it's a very small, and what I've come from, a very small production line, but you can see there is a lot of equipment in there. And it's costing me quite a bit of money, let me tell you. So anyway, a lot of people ask me, and you guys have been so supportive, so I appreciate the opportunity to, kind of update you. I think we're still hoping to run some product this month. All projects have something that just seems like you're never gonna get through, and that was the fire suppression, and that, I think I have that resolved now, so we're hoping to be able to maybe not be selling product by the end of this month, but at least testing. And then in September, Lord willing, we should be running everything. But it takes time, and it takes a lot of, we're building a lot of that equipment ourselves. And then we got a huge wood order. Thank you, Lord. So, some half a day we're working at that because that's what's supporting us. And then we worked at this. So we're very excited. The boys are excited. It's just been a great project for us as a family, and appreciate your support. And I just wanted to give you an update.
I'd like to say the amount of equipment that you have bought, the way you've done it, used equipment and put it together, it has been amazing what you've done, you and your family in a short time.
Thank you.
Every time we go to the grocery store, we buy potato chips, I said, like the seasonality of potato chips. Well, thank you for that.
Sure.
County Administrator.
Okay. Two of the things that normally be in the report were this discussion about the site cleanup and the appraisals. We've taken care of that. The next two things that you see written are, we were talking about lining up some guests, some speakers to come in at a meeting in the future. Brady especially, but me as well, have a good friend who was at the Department of Agriculture for more than 10 years, did the aphid grants and some things, and he left and went to VEDP. But since then, he's going to the Tobacco Commission. And I think he's starting on the 10th, which is that tomorrow, the day after or something?
Yeah.
So we thought we would invite him to come down because he is a friend of everybody in this room. He's got experience with us here. We've actually talked about several different grant opportunities with him. We did the milk processing one. He was somewhat involved in. So we'd like for him to come down, see if we can further advance the relationship with the Tobacco Commission. He's the Deputy Executive Director, I think. So we'd like to do that. And then we also have a relationship with Cliff Williamson. He's the new Executive Director of the Agribusiness Council. And, with the Tyson news that we've gotten, and I don't know if anybody saw yesterday's report, but that whole thing looks to be in trouble. But obviously, being the 8th largest agricultural producing county in the state and absorbing the whack that we did back in March, we thought it'd be beneficial to bring Cliff in and introduce him to us and maybe have a conversation with him about our eagerness to pursue opportunities and open up some things. If the board would like to hear from them, we'll certainly get them in here.
Absolutely.
And anybody else that you may be inclined to hear from.
I've got a friend that runs the Henrico EDA, a full-time position. Really a nice guy. I mean, just a neat guy. And I've often thought about I've talked to him about coming down just because they do a lot of very large things and what we could learn from him. His name is Anthony Romanella.
Okay.
And I would be able to get him to come.
Okay.
If you guys would be interested in that.
Enrico, you said?
Yes.
Eldon, I have a relationship with Anthony as well.
Oh, you do?
He was one of my professors when I was at Tech. I guess you call him an adjunct professor, and has actually been a mentor of mine through every career transition, sort of keeping together and staying in touch. So he's a great guy, one of the smartest guys I've ever met.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a genius in terms of local government management.
Yep, he's got a big family too, like me, so we have a lot in common.
Okay,
Well, that would be good. And then another one, I guess we could throw out, we've had several meetings with him, but Joe Casey over in Chesterfield. He has met with several supervisors, brought some of their supervisors in. You know, they're not concerns, but you know, they know that something's gonna happen to that area above Magnolia Green. And it's pushing some of their businesses out to look for other things, and I think we need to maybe stroke that relationship a tad bit. If that mega site that they're working on off of Genito Road comes, it's, you know, been here my entire life that Chesterfield will be here anytime. You know, they're on the way. It's coming. You all better get ready. It's a lot closer than it was when, I guess the first time they started saying it, we would be coming back from the stockyards, and the last stoplight between Amelia County and Richmond was down at McGuire Circle.
Exactly.
So that it has come a long way since then, and that day is going to come.
and they're gonna anchor that hospital out here too, so that's gonna draw a lot.
I guess everybody caught that. They're gonna close, HCA is gonna close Swift Creek, which is that standalone ER that's at Wood Lake. The newspaper article said they're gonna move it 10 miles west on 360. But 10 miles west is right at the yard of the Eames house.
Right.
And it's not gonna go that far. I think that was a misprint. I understand it's destined for the second entrance into Magnolia Green or in that area. Just past Hudgens.
Right.
They've done a lot of clearing off on 360 across from that picnic area.
Uh-huh.
They cleared off all of that. So something big is coming.
Okay, so it looks like we have what, 4 people we're gonna talk to about coming to address us. Anything else, Mr. Harvey?
That's it.
Okay. No need for a closed meeting?
Don't have anything.
Anything anybody else wants to bring up? I have one question for Brady. Have you heard anything? We participated in that phone conversation with the CDC
On the economic
Yeah.
development organization. Yeah, Taylor and I sat in a working committee meeting yesterday. They are, I think they've sort of neared the completion of the data gathering phase, I would say. And they're now really looking to formulate a directive in terms of how to move forward with potentially propping an organization up. I feel like the CRC, the best route probably would be the CRC sort of taking that on while hiring a temporary person or something maybe. Really, what you have is an organization that multiple localities, boards are gonna have to agree to support financially to get off the ground. And the return on investment is likely gonna take
years.
to actualize, is what it is.
Yeah.
So the problem or the major issue that needs to be solved is how much funding is it gonna take for the organization to come online and be successful, and which localities are gonna be willing to support that process. And I think that's where the struggle is, and I don't really know, Taylor can speak a lot more to that, because he's, I think, been through this a couple times.
Yeah, that Brady said it well. It's, we got out of the other regional group, and that was $15,000 or $18,000 a year worth of dues that we paid. The initial estimates for this, and they're just floating numbers, about $60,000 a community. And yesterday we're talking about maybe hiring a an initial executive director to help with the startup, to concentrate on fundraising. And that's something that it's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a very tough sell
Yeah.
everywhere. It's gonna be a tough sell with Lindenberg, it's gonna be a tough sell with Charlotte, because they stayed in that other. They were part of the original group, they stayed there, so they're gonna be asked to kick in even additional monies.
Well, the reason I asked the question, that was what, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, and hadn't heard anything. So just want to make sure it wasn't dead.
Redo, that's the CRCREDO, Regional Economic Development Organization.
What about the, Riverside? The roof line? Are they gonna put, a cell tower up next to me, up at Deepville?
River Street,
River Street, yeah.
River Street.
What's that progress?
the, just got off of a VADI meeting earlier this morning. Things are moving along, things are progressing. It is going to be a tower put at the Soapstone Road Convenience Center.
Okay.
But that tower is for emergency services communication.
Oh, okay.
It's a possibility, I guess, that somebody could place a cellular antenna on there. We've not talked a lot about that. River Street is going to co-locate, it appears, inside the communications hut with the county's Motorola radio system that we're putting.
Okay.
So they're going to be up there, but they're going to have, it's a fiber optic cable thing as opposed to tower. They will not be used and utilizing the tower. River Street has no more towers coming. The one and only one was the one in Manville. Unless a new project pops up somewhere.
Okay.
But with River Street, we paid engineering bills for engineering work that's been done. They have located sites for their communication huts. They're continuing to design the routes and order the materials. I just heard this morning that they had installed 55 miles of fiber optic cable in Charlotte County. They're wrapping up Charlotte in Pennsylvania, have numerous crews, and they have been saying that Amelia and Nottoway will be the next ones to have major activity. The River Street is coming to the Board of Supervisors meeting next week. Rob Taylor will be there to give an update on VADI, which is the biggest grant that we have, the close to $20 million worth of work to be done. It's a phase 1 and a phase 2. And there's also an RDOF project that River Street has. RDOF was a reverse auction that the federal government did. It enticed companies to bid on building projects in. So they would bid a certain level that if the government gave them the money, they would agree to build the fiber network. So the low bidder would win those. They have won that. Everything south of Namazine Creek. Anybody that has a 265 area code, prefix on their telephone number, those folks are the underserved area that was subject to this grant, and River Street is doing that. The last time we talked to them about it, they're going to be rolling that project out in conjunction with everything up here. You won't be able to tell the difference. When they come, they're going to do it all.
Okay.
Still amazes me, you read about, well, we're gonna put so many millions of dollars into rural internet. And then the next time you pick up the papers is, well, we're gonna study it. We're gonna see how bad they really need it.
Uh,
Well, they put everything in the ground, but they ain't never hooked up. That's right. Nothing you can use.
All right, anything else come before the commission? If not, I'm gonna take a motion to adjourn. Second, please. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Marty, the meeting tonight, the chamber, is that a
Six.
board meeting or is that? Yeah, I don't think I'll come to that. I'll come to you next, whichever one you're gonna.
Okay, the next one.
Is that thing on?